One of those things that I like to do when I am in burnout is I just like to reach for those series that feel like a warm hug, that just are comforting. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and today, guys, we are going to dive into a list of authors/series that I reach for when I want just a comfortable reading experience. Before we dive into this list, please do me a favor, like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it does help the channel grow. And you can check the description box down below for links to all of my social media, including information about my Patreon/book club, which you can join for as little as $1 a month, and the Wizards Enclave Discord, where we've got a fantastic bookish community. With that out of the way, guys, let's dive on into this list. Now, essentially, these are books that I reach for when I want something that just feels familiar, comforting. I don't have to invest too much of myself into it. They still may have stakes and they still may have some action, but nothing that is going to just emotionally drain me and basically ruin my next reading experience, where I'm just so incredibly wrenched of all the dopamine that's left in my brain that I can't possibly comprehend something else. It's just something that you can kick back, relax, easily tear through 3 or 4 of these and have fantastic reading experiences, and then move on to something else when you're looking for something a little bit more challenging. That is not to say that these are not engaging books. Now, starting off this list, it's going to be weird, but murder mysteries. We've got Agatha Christie. And specifically for me, I've only ever read the Hercule Poirot books, and yet there's just something about Hercule that I find so comforting. They're not exactly formulaic because they do different things. There's over 30 of these adventures. That's just written by Christie. Other people have then come by and officially written other Hercule books. So there's a lot of Hercule out there to dive into, but the Poirot stories, they can be either evidence-based, or they can be psychological, or they can just be, I don't know, he uses the little gray cells to figure out who done it, and I just find that so incredibly relatable. And he's unlike Sherlock. Like, Sherlock feels like this superhuman individual. Hercule is a little bit more down to earth, a little bit more relatable of an individual. He's persnickety, and I don't know, I love the Hercule Poirot books by Agatha Christie, and I find great comfort in them. Next up, we have got, of course, superheroes in space, a little bit of fantasy, a little bit of sci-fi, Space Bears. We've got Hybrid Helix by J. Sandburn. By this point in time, there's 6 of these out so far, and I think he's planning on having like 16 entries in this world, and that means that there is a lot to dive in and enjoy, and you can just come in and visit with your buddy Rowan as he goes through the trials and tribulations of being a hybrid in this universe. And there is a lot of action in here, but at the same time, there's a lot of humor, there's a lot of heart, and I really, really enjoy this series. Be sure to check this one out if you haven't yet already. Fantastic stuff. Tao Wong, 1,000 Li. This is cultivation fantasy, and essentially what cultivation fantasy is it is the purification of body and soul to achieve heavenly immortality, to ascend to the heavens and become immortal through training and perseverance. And this comes with magical powers, and this comes with chi manipulation, all that sort of stuff. And there's some politics in here, but there's some traveling, there's some mythical spirit beasts, there's just all sorts of really engaging stuff within this series without overwhelming you. There are some heavy-hitting moments in here, especially later on in the series. Whew! But man, Wu Ying is such an engaging character, and I really, really enjoy this series. And as of, I believe, June, it will be complete with 12 books. So yeah, that's 1,000 Li. Very engaging stuff. And you'll find a lot of longer series in here because you can just get in there and eat them up. And this is definitely one of those. You can pick anything pretty much by Drew Hayes. You've got the NPC series, you've got the Fred the Vampire Accountant, you've got Superpowers, Villain's Code is currently ongoing. There's just a lot of content to consume within Drew Hayes' backlog, but none more so than Fred the Vampire Accountant to me personally. I believe there's 8 or 9 of these out, and the series is getting ready to wrap up. But this is just great found family. It's got a nice supernatural element. It's a cool twist of putting the magical in the mundane, as Drew Hayes put it when I interviewed him. And there's just something so mundane about the magical lives and the magical situations that Fred finds himself in. He's just an accountant. That's all he wants to do. He's also a vampire, but he doesn't really want to go out doing vampire things. That's not really his bag. And through mishaps and misunderstanding the supernatural community, he's found himself to be a powerhouse in this community. And really all he is he's a magical accountant. That's all he does. He does taxes. That's pretty much his whole shtick. But Fred is fantastic. Great cast of characters. A lot of entertainment. A lot of humor. And very, very digestible. Very, very comforting, in my opinion. Please do yourself a favor and check this out if you haven't already. I've gotten a few of my friends to check it out, and so far, everybody I've talked to has either just liked or really, really enjoyed the series. Great stuff. We've then got Will White, be it the Last Horizon? I almost said Lost Horizon. I did say Lost Horizon. Be it the Last Horizon or the Cradle series, Will White injects a lot of heart, a lot of humor, a lot of coziness, with a lot of just really cool and engaging action that is just refreshing and uplifting. It can have heavy-hitting emotional moments in it, and yet it can then be tempered with humor or a quick joke, or just, there's something about Will White's writing that is just absolutely brilliant. And this is a great sci-fi series from him, but Cradle is also one of those like progression cultivation series that's just really easy to eat up. That one is currently complete. I believe there's 12 books and a short story collection, and there's currently 3 books out in this. I think book 4 is coming out here soon. So yeah, Will White definitely makes this list, especially the 2 series that I mentioned. Fantastic stuff. This is Space Wizards, by the way. He's got a magic wand, and then there is a spaceship. So very cool stuff. Very interesting and unique. Something about the way that Andrew Rowe writes is just so easy to digest. Again, with that humor, you'll find a lot of these have a humor element throughout that really softens the impacts of the emotional punches as they come in. And these authors are really, really good at it. And Six Sacred Swords in actually really all of Andrew Rowe, because it's kind of one big story. If you're doing Arcane Ascension, I believe is the name of that series, and then of course Six Sacred Swords, or you've got Weapons and Wielders, which is just the sequel to this series. I held this one up because it's the thinnest of them. He writes big books. But yeah, Andrew Rowe just writes progression fantasy in a way that is easy to digest, easy to understand, while being engaging, whether it's being OP characters like Kara Cerulean, or if you're doing like the Artificer character that's in Arcane Ascension. Great stuff, easy to digest, and very, very entertaining. Great audiobooks as well with Nick Podell. Fantastic stuff. And then, of course, just easy to digest fantasy is always appreciated and very, very cozy. With, again, that humor through line. These are good, humorous books. The Legend of Eli Monpress by Rachel Aaron. I've got maybe 1 book left in this series. And speaking of a prolific author, so many books from Rachel Aaron. She pumps them out so incredibly quickly. I've got another 2 series on my shelves to read from this author, as well as like another 2 or 3 that I have yet to purchase, but 100% plan to do so. And this series is just the first few pages. I mean, the first few pages of this series, we've got somebody kidnapping a king for ransom just because. Not for any particular reason other than I wanted to do it. And the heists and the shenanigans that Eli Monpress gets up to within this series, all he really wants to do is be a great thief and to have a really large bounty. That's his goal, is large bounty. Not to be particularly evil, he just embraces freedom, and for that reason this series just sings as a comfy read. And then we got 3 more to get through here. We've got, of course, Husband and Wife. Boom. The Merediths. We've got Andrew D. Meredith. He writes incredibly clean fantasy, whether it's Collation, Needle and Leaf, or Quaint Creatures. This is actually cozy fantasy, but Needle and Leaf has a very healthy father and son relationship. Collation is just this great epic fantasy that you can sink your teeth into, and it's consistent, and it's just not going to throw you for any sort of loops. It's got great heavy hitting moments. It's got characters you love to hate, characters you love to love. I love Adria D. Meredith's writing. And then I wouldn't be reading Agatha Christie if it wasn't for Patricia Meredith. And again, this is a North Pole adventure, but also you've got the Spokane Clock Tower Mysteries, which is historical mysteries in the vein of Agatha Christie or Anna Catherine Green. Fantastic stuff. I love this too. And whenever I can fit their books into my reading plans, I do so because it's just a good break for my soul. Oh, good stuff. And then very new to my list, because I've been mainlining this series so incredibly quickly, is Beware of Chicken by Casual Farmer. I love this. Is cozy, it's heartwarming, it's laid back. It does have a fair bit of profanity in it, but it's still like a portal fantasy, so I'm fine with that because the guy who's swearing comes from our world, so that makes sense to me, and I can accept it there. But again, cultivation fantasy, but done in a farming setting. It's cozy, it's engaging, you root for these characters. I love this series. But again, these series are my comfort reads. I want you to drop into the comment section down below and let me know what your comfort reads are. What books do you reach for when you just need that break, when you want to feel nice and refreshed? Here's my stack, and let me know yours in the comment section down below. That's all I really got for today, guys. I hope you're doing well. Till next time, peace out, stay magical, bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons. Thank you for supporting my passion and my hobby. It means the world to me.